Hey, I'm Francis, and today I'm going to work on the mix and master of my Astral Cauldron project. Let's go take a look in Reaper. Alright, here is the project as it was last time I worked on it, with 4 finished tracks and markers for the beginning and the end of each track. So, the first thing I'm going to do is refresh my memory as to what the sound is like. I haven't worked on this in a couple of days, so let's hear it. That's track 1. Track 2. It's kind of really quiet, mysterious part. Track 3. Track 4. All kinds of stuff going on in track 4. Cool. So I've got all my dark ambiances that I created. They're all kind of fun in their own ways. I've got this drum part. And I've got my instruments, my square waves, my pads, and I've got my harp. So, the first thing I'm going to do is decide if I like the way it sounds overall. And I think I sort of do, but I want to try a few things just to see if they're better. The first thing I want to try is throwing on some type of filtering on this harp track. I'm just going to use the stock Reaper EQ. And I'm going to recognize that my harp doesn't really need a lot of beefy low end. I can get rid of all this without creating much of a problem. And it might not need too much high end either. So I'm going to try using a low pass filter. See what that feels like, especially in these parts with high notes. Yeah, it gives it a little bit more of a lo-fi vibe. I might sort of lo-fi up everything a little bit, but I'm not sure. Let's just try. Oops. I've got this filters preset that I created. If you wanted to make your own preset, here I just added a band on low pass filter, and I said save preset basically. You can save it as default. I think that the Reaper EQ doesn't have this high pass filter by default, and I find that I use the high pass filter on almost everything that I put an EQ on. So there you have it. That's my default setting. So this one's already pretty filtered. So it doesn't really need this. So does this one. So they're both pretty heavily filtered already. Kind of lo-fi-ish sounds. So I'm not too worried about that. Square wave is really loud, but I kind of like it. I think that all of this stuff is stuff that I'm pretty happy with. So, you know what I think I'm going to do is just sort of leave it as is, aside from that little lo-fi-ing up of the harp. So now I'm going to set up a render queue and render each one of these project songs. Astral Cauldron. Oh, I need to name the tracks as well. I'll do that in my mastering session. So I'm going to master this in a different project file. And there's a few reasons for that. One is so that I don't have to run all this processing at the same time. I don't have the greatest computer in the world. And another is so that I can easily chop the stereo waveform to the length that I want. And that makes it easier to space the tracks from each other. Part of mastering is spacing your tracks out on your album. So deciding how much silence goes between tracks. Okay, so I've got this folder called renders, and I'll call this Astral Cauldron 1. And I'm going to do it in 24-bit wave. I recorded it in 48 kilohertz. You can't see it up here because it's behind my face, but believe me, that doesn't really matter. You can do 44.1. You can do 96 if you want. I don't really care. Those numbers matter less and less the higher they get. As long as you're above 44.1, you won't really notice much of a difference. Okay, so I'm going to add this to a render queue. And then open my render queue. Double check that I've got different timestamps for each of these because I want to make sure that I'm getting the right part rendered. Good time to double check that you're rendering your time selection, not something else. But now that I'm confident that I've chosen the right things, I'm going to choose render all and wait. Okay, that seems like it worked. Let me start a new project and double check those. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to need to copy this voiceover bus. Yeah, both of these. So save tracks as track template. Voiceover. Save. Okay. Well, all right. I guess I saved all of this stuff. And I'll just delete all of it. This all looks like it's there. Hopefully I don't have to redo anything. And what I can do now is bring in my tracks. I think I saved them in YouTube, Astral Cauldron, renders, the wave renders. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. And these hopefully will sound okay. The waveforms look a little bit small. That's okay. I just mixed really quietly on this one. Normally I'd try to get something a little bit louder than that, but I'll just do that in the mastering phase. What's important is they all sound normal. And start normally and end normally. And I think I'm good there. So here we go. Here's our mastering session. I'm going to color code these so we're looking at the right tracks and get started. So like I said, the first thing I'm noticing is that they're very, very quiet, which means that I'm going to need to add quite a bit of gain in order to get them to a healthy volume, especially if I put them on a tape. Because on a cassette, you have quite a lot of background noise, the tape hiss. And if that tape hiss is louder than the music, then you're kind of screwed. You can't really do anything about it. So I need to make sure that my my actual track volume is louder than the tape hiss by quite a bit. And for a digital master, for something like Dungeon Synth, maybe I'll want to add my own tape hiss to create the effect of the song being on tape, even on a download from Bandcamp. So let me just line these up first of all and make sure they aren't overlapping yet. I'll probably end up overlapping these, but I just want to hear the beginnings and ends of each track. I'm going to save this too. Astral Cauldron mastering. Okay, that starts great. Right off the bat, just really vibey. I'm also going to expand these waveforms so I can really see how long the track is. that reverb trail. That's pretty cool. That's cool. Abrupt. And this last one, I want to just let it die out all the way. Yeah. So that's one idea. The second idea is to let these sort of bleed over each other. So to have this one sort of fade in as the other fades out. Let's see if I like this one more. I like that one more. So I might try to do that with all of these. Maybe I'll fade this one in a little bit longer. I actually liked it over here more. That was cool. Okay, and this is the last one. That's nice and abrupt. That'll be cool. And this last one, I'm going to fade this track out a little bit. Probably won't be a big deal. Yeah, it's already quite quiet by then. All right, great. Now I want to see my waveforms again so I can see what the transients look like. There's not a lot of drums, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. Who knows? So my starting point for mastering, I need to say this, I'm not a mastering engineer, and I only master my projects when I'm on a low budget, and I can't afford a better mastering engineer. I think it can be important to even have an objective set of ears on your track. So even if you are good at mastering, it can be valuable to hire somebody else to do it for you. So I don't recommend what I'm doing. However, I understand that Dungeon Synth is a generally very low budget genre, and I'm not about to spend a few $100s getting 4 tracks for this video mastered by a professional engineer. And because of that, I'm going to do it myself. And also because I assume that you probably aren't going to spend a few $100s to get your 4-track EP professionally mastered. Because, 19 people are going to listen to it and they're going to love it. But let's face it, we aren't going to make any money off of this. So what I do recommend when we're working with mastering is to use quality plugins. We can do a great job mastering with stock plugins in Reaper. Don't get me wrong. Maybe I'll do 2 versions of this, one where I use stock plugins and one where I don't. But I find that I get fantastic results with analog modeled gear, especially for a sort of a lo-fi style genre. So I'm going to show you my sort of default mastering chain that I've been using lately. Let's see here. And let's just see what this sounds like on it. I can show you what each thing is doing. So I'm going to put these on the music bus. And I'm doing this, oh shoot. I'm getting a little bit of lag. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's some of these other ones. Hello? Hello? Lag? I think it's the multi-maximizer. Okay. I'm just going to play the song back, or a song, and you can hear what's going on. There it is again without. So you can hear that it's definitely adding quite a bit of volume, but it's also adding a little bit of like fire to the track, I guess. And what I'm using here is, first of all, a preamp sim. And I'm essentially using a preset on this. I might actually be using a preset. I don't remember if I edited this or not. But I'm boosting my high range a little bit, and I'm boosting my high mids a little bit. So it just adds a tiny bit of presence. This is the one that I find myself bypassing most frequently, but in this track, I think it's helping quite a bit. The next one here is a Pultec Clone, and this is sort of a extreme setting on it. But what I'm doing here is essentially adding some thump and power to the low end. It'll be most obvious in this track because I have low bass. So again, it'll add a little bit of rumble if you've got like a subwoofer. Next one here. Again, I'm mostly just using a preset here. I have this one on here because it's got a fantastic spreader. So I can kind of decide how stereo I want to be. It's also got this tape equalizer in the input section, which I really like. And it lets me adjust the tone here with this EQ and some filters in here. And I find myself getting more mileage out of this plugin when I've got like a full drum kit, cymbals, a hi-fi mix, but it adds something special to even a lo-fi track. So here it just opens up a little bit. It's wonderful. This one's my tape. Basically, I like this preset if you've got this plugin, but it does a little bit too much lo-fi for my taste in most tracks. So I actually have it set a little bit differently in my master bus chain. So I'm going to change it to a different tape speed and different tape formula. So without, again, very subtle. In a Dungeon Synth track, I think I would consider adding a bit of noise. So yeah, for the digital version, I think I'll do this, and for the tape master, I think I won't do this. So I want the digital version to sound a little bit like it's on tape. We'll do that one right now. Next, I've got a vinyl sim. This is just another like add a little bit of fire kind of a thing. Some people like to add a little bit of the clicks and vinyl crackle. I don't really like those sounds, honestly. I almost never find myself using those parts. But again, it's got a really nice EQ profile, so I use it for that. This last one here is a sort of a multi-band compressor limiter, and this is where I get my the rest of my volume from. So basically, I will look at these meters and I will try to get the volume as close as I can to the output ceiling, which is set to -1 right now, which is a pretty good place to set it if you're doing streaming audio. You can go higher than that, up to like minus 0.1 if you're on a CD. I try not to go too high on my output ceiling, but you get more powerful transients the louder your transients are. So what can I say? I don't need to get it that loud. I don't need to get it that loud, I mean. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. It makes the tape sound really loud. So I'm going to pull a little bit of that back. Cool. And then with this stuff on, I'm going to render it. Okay. I forgot one thing, which is my markers. I need to make new markers because I need to decide where the start and end of tracks are. And luckily, I have these fade-ins now, so it's going to be pretty obvious to me where the track should start. And then the end will go right here at the end of this. Cool. Okay. And now, you know what I also have to do is decide what the tracks are called. So I'm imagining some kind of like a master and apprentice relationship with the cauldron thing and the astral thing going on. So I was thinking, while I was working on this, maybe I should name these after spells. Cool. I'm going to do that. I'll just name them after classic kind of magic spell type thing. So, invisibility. Divining. Oops. Divining. I like saying divining. It's divining, isn't it? Raise dead. And this one can be something about summoning demons or something. I'm not sure. Invisibility, defining, raise dead, and finally, maybe this is after you break into the master's workshop and you steal a spell you shouldn't have had access to. That's probably a raise dead, but summon greater demon. That's a great title. I love it. I'm very pleased with myself. Okay. I'm going to make sure I turn this back on, and then I'm going to render them out. Okay, and now I'm going to take my tape plugin off and make another master for putting on tape. So I'm going to let my output ceiling get a little bit higher. just to counterbalance the inevitable tape hiss. Make sure it sounds good. Cool. Good enough for me. And now I'm going to put these in my render queue as the tape master. And I'm going to do it all at once. The tape, on a tape, you essentially don't have your tracks really separated. So it's better if you master an entire side altogether. So I'm going to do this all as one track. And I'm going to let these render. Okay, so there we have it. Mastering in a nutshell. I didn't do a good job mastering this, but I sort of did it, which is the important part. Let's take a look at what these waveforms end up looking like. Whoops. Okay. So, quite a bit louder. The transients are still quite visible, which is a good thing. In some cases, they might be too visible. So like this track, for example, might be a little bit extreme sounding. But it sounds cool to me. I kind of like it. So I'm happy leaving it like that. Kind of gnarly backing sound. So anyway, that's all there is to this. Our next step is taking this stuff and sort of preparing a Bandcamp page. Let's take a look at that now. Anyway, I'm gonna make an album here, and I'll call the album for now Astral Cauldron. I think I'll charge like $4 for this, $3 for it, maybe $3. And I don't have the album art yet, but I have reached out to an artist, so hopefully I'll have that soon. And I need to add tracks. So in this case, here's my master. Track 1 is going to be invisibility. And I think I will allow track pricing. We can put an about section if we want. There's all kinds of stuff really to do in Bandcamp, but in this case, I'm just going to be adding the tracks and eventually adding artwork. So dividing. And here we can add merch as well. We'll make a cassette for this edition cassette, and maybe we'll do this as a split. We'll see. I don't have anything for that yet. I'd have to charge like probably $10 to make this worth it, unfortunately. Cassettes are quite expensive. PayPal me if you want. Raise dead. I'm lazy and I work a lot, so I can't ship out orders all the time. Usually I get them out within 1 week, which is good. Shipping materials. for a cassette in the United States is about $3. It costs something like $2 and something cents for the media mail distinction, as long as you only ship a cassette or a CD or whatever else. You can charge. You get charged a lower rate. So media mail ends up being something like $10 to $15 to go to other parts of the world. It's horribly expensive, and it's more by weight. So we'll just do this. It's probably safe. And yeah, it's 2 something, and then the packaging materials I buy in bulk. So they're like a few cents a pop, but it takes some time to do it, and I don't know. If I'm charging for my time, it comes to a little more than $3. If I'm not, it comes to a little less. And every once in a while, you have to buy new pens, buy new shipping labels, stuff like that. I would say that this is probably about as low as I can fairly charge. Okay, now that we have this one, summon greater demon. We can keep it private for now. Save it as a draft. And go to the album. Say about this album. This album was created as part of a series of tutorials on my YouTube channel. Follow me here. Or subscribe, right? What is it? www.youtube.com/c. Let's see if that's the correct. I think that's the right URL. Yeah, that's me. Fantastic. Album credits, whatever. I'll do that stuff later. Save draft, and I want to view the draft now. Okay, so here we are. I don't have the art yet, and I want the artwork to sort of be matched to the background and stuff. So I'm going to do. I need to make an artist photo and a bio. Okay, cool. Artist bio. Cauldron contains 4 spells that are important for any young wizard. To learn. Cool, that's a good bio. And then we can set the design. Set the background color to like dark black. Link color can be, I want a deeper blue. Text color. Body color, let's do like also black, yeah. Text color. Something like that. And secondary text color, that's fine. Cool. Save that. And now I just need the photos, and sort of good for now. Great. Next, I need to seek out a quote for the tape. I like to use this company. It's a Canadian company. And I can get a quote. Where are the cassettes? Oh, cassettes, here we go. Audio cassette duplication. Great. Okay. Length per side, something like 15 minutes, right? How long is that track? If I play this, I can find out. Exactly 16 minutes. Fantastic. Okay. 16 minutes. Yeah. Cool. You can choose a type of tape. I was talking about sort of a dark blue kind of a look with the artist, so let's see if there's something that looks cool like that. Silver, turquoise, yellow. does that look like? That's kind of cool. I'm done. And I'll do clear front with black back. O cards to go over the case. Nah. The O cards are like little sleeves that wrap around it. Cover type. J card. One side print. Yeah. So the J card is that thing that looks like a J in here. Whoops. Labeling. Black and white paper label sounds pretty Dungeon Synth. Standard white. Download codes. No. Fill around Bandcamp. OB strips are these things. They're really cool, but they cost more, so I'm not going to do it. No rush. Quantity, I'm going to do 20, I think. So it's going to cost $115, so it's $5.75 per tape. So, yeah, that'll be fine. I'll make my money back, even if I don't sell them all. And that's the whole idea here, is to break even. And actually, what does it cost if I do audio only on one side? $5.60. Yeah, I'll do a split with some other music of mine. Audio on both sides. Cool. Okay. Continue. Looks good. Type of tape. I don't even know what goes in here. And that's all I'm going to do for today. It's kind of a lot, but that's the next step in making a DIY release. So hopefully you learned something. I'll see you next time.